What's going on, you guys? Coaster here with the State of the Oakland Raiders address. The last one, as usual, of the year. Standard State of the Oakland Raiders, because the State of the Union actually happens this month as well from the President of the United States. No matter who it is. Anyways, I do want to just say, if you're going to comment, be respectful. I don't mind criticism, but please be respectful in the comments. This is not a trash talk video. So, non-Raiders fans, you can talk, but be careful, okay? That's all I'll say. Raiders, we're at this point where the Raiders are in a lame duck state. That's the problem. They enter one last year as Oakland Raiders with their title. They could be playing anywhere. We don't know yet. Mark Davis didn't really have a good exit plan. He was just focused on Vegas. And they're just going to go through the motions. Okay, a lot of these guys are going to be playing for a job. Whoever signs with the Raiders is just desperate. They're going to be playing for a job, and they're going to try to play for a contract elsewhere. Derek Carr, he's going to be the quarterback. But will he be the quarterback in 2020? We don't know. His back is against the wall. The time is ticking. Time is ticking to Vegas. And Gruden will not play his cards or reveal his cards. No pun intended, until they're in Vegas. I know I've been saying that over and over again, but he's just going to evaluate the talent he has or the guys he has, and then he's going to cut the fat. Most of these guys are going to be gone. I mean, the guys that were loyal to Reggie McKenzie, which I do also want to bring up. Reggie McKenzie was, I would say, an average general manager. He did some good things. He got them out of cap hell, but he also did some bad things with the draft. He had some very good ups and downs. You know, he really hit pretty well in 2014. He had a few decent picks here and there, but overall, it's just average. Obviously, DJ Hayden, big disappointment. Carl Joseph, I'm still kind of meh. Conley, showing promise. I think he'll be all right, but we don't know what Gruden wants to do. I mean, John Gruden played a lot of veterans in the first half. Guys that don't have upside. Guys were playing in front of Conley and Joseph in the secondary. That's not good. Sticking to your veterans and sticking to your guys, fine, but are those guys going to be with the team in the future? No, they don't have upside. That's it. This team was going through the motions, and this is a lame duck state until they go to Vegas. He'll have the draft picks. We can talk about it all we want. But I think this really is a new low for me since being on YouTube. We can talk about all these bad seasons and Dennis Allen and Norv Turner and okay, he wasn't coaching when I've been on here, but you get the point. I've dealt through some bad things, including that fat quarterback that used to wear number 2, who was first overall. But the reason why this is the all-time low for me, we can talk about 4-12, but it's because you traded your star. You traded Khalil Mack right before the season on Labor Day weekend. And while we kind of saw it coming, given the talks and all that, you know, Gruden wanting his own guys and forcing the issue. That's not good. That looks pretty terrible in hindsight now because the Chicago Bears win their division. And every time I'm seeing a play, a highlight, whether it's with the Raiders or with the Bears, it hurts. I mean, that hurts. It really does. We can talk about losing and heartbreak hurt me, but every time he's tearing it up for the Bears, I'm in pain because I think about how he's traded in his prime. Not all for cap reasons, not necessarily, but it's because Mark Davis is invested in Las Vegas. And all that money is going to John Gruden in Vegas. A lot of this roster is being gutted. He doesn't give a damn. Blah, blah, blah. It's all on Gruden. Gruden has control, and he's had control since he was hired. Reggie was the lame duck guy in the background, and then it was a formality when they fired him in the middle of the year because it's like penny pinching. Mark has got to save his money for Vegas with the relocation fee and whatever parts of the stadium he's got to pay for. And I know, obviously, the people in Vegas are paying for it. A lot of it, I don't know how all the funding works, but what I do know is both sides are getting what it deserves. The city of Oakland, unfortunately, is getting what it deserves. Just from a neutral standpoint here. I'm not there anymore. I don't live in the Bay Area anymore, but the sides with Mark Davis and Oakland just at their war, yeah, there's really no winner in that. The media tries to make it look like Oakland was the good guy and Mark's the bad guy, but no, they're both the bad guys. City of Oakland, you got to take care of your teams, or else you're going to lose everybody. You're already going to lose the team with Steph Curry. You're going to lose the team that has John Gruden. Now you could be losing the team that's got Matt Chapman, which, who knows? That's a big question mark. We don't know what's going to happen there, but you're barely clinging on to them. And you got to get your stuff together if you want them. But who knows? Those people in Oakland, Libby Schaaf, the mayor, the set council members, they care about other things. I don't think they really care about their sports teams. And you know what? They're saving money, I'm sure, by doing it. They care about other issues and things, which, whether you like it or not, that's how they are. So the Raiders, what happens here? Well, you're going to keep some guys, you're going to get rid of a lot of guys, there's going to be cap casualties. I mean, Gruden is stripping this roster down, so it's full of his image and his guys. Okay, that's the bottom line. I mean, Derek Carr is the only guy that I could think of that's inherited that he's going to keep for sure in 2019. Everyone else could be a trade target. He could just be trying to get something out of nothing, or they'll be cap casualties or be cut. Everybody that was not drafted by Gruden. That's just how I see it. I mean, these guys are all, a lot of them probably rebelled, I'm sure. I mean, when you trade your star a week before the season, that's pretty demoralizing. It is. It's really demoralizing. You could talk about they didn't get the offer they wanted of 2 first-round picks, and fine, they got it really late, but it's insulting. It's insulting you can't pay your star in his prime. It's not like he was 32, which I think people would have understood it then, but no, he's going to tear it up for the Bears for another 3 or 4 years, and that hurts. The only thing I can really get behind that Gruden's done was trade Amari Cooper. And I know we can talk about what he did with the Cowboys, but there's no way the Raiders get a better offer than a first-round pick for him. And I actually can get behind that because the Cowboys are not doing anything under Jerry Jones in the big picture. They will win some games, they'll be competitive, but I come to that point where they're stuck in mediocrity. So I'm not worried about what Cooper did statistically speaking. He was way too streaky with the Raiders. I'm not going to say bust, but he wasn't what we hoped for a guy that was drafted 4th overall. So going to the drafts, you got 3 first-round picks. You got to go with your offensive line. You got to go defense, 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 because that defense was atrocious. A lot of those guys were dogging it. They didn't care. I thought Conley looked good. He was promising, but as said, a lot of that team was playing like they didn't care. A lot of these guys are holdovers, and we know Gruden is invested in his guys like Colton Miller and so on. But, you know, the other kick in the groin is that Derwin James was available, and they took Colton Miller in front of him when they traded down. So, you know, Gruden, you can talk a big game and Beck talking all this stuff, but there's 10 million reasons why I'm fed up, and that's your contract. Looks pretty bad when you're paying $2.5 million per win, a head coach. There were probably some coaches that make less than $2.5 million this year, and they could have probably done a better job, or at least price per win, a better job. That looks pretty stupid when you throw all the money at Gruden. He's got power, he's got dictator powers, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you have to trust him or live and die by him because he has control over everything. Now, can they go back and be mediocre or be relevant? Sure. But his track record in Tampa Bay says otherwise. He did not build upon that Super Bowl win, which was Tony Dungy's team. They went backward. A lot of those first-round picks, like Carnell Williams, didn't work out very well. So, who knows what? You got first-round picks. I mean, as a TV analyst, you can say fluff about all these draft picks and good stuff. Now you got Mike Mayock in action. What do you know? He's hired. I don't care. You can say a lot of things on TV. It's easier. I mean, Mayock, I thought, did a good job when he's critical when he needs to be and faithfully good. He didn't say as much fluff. But there's a difference between being an analyst and actually making the calls and being like a GM. Or, in this case, probably John Gruden's wingman. That's pretty much what he's going to be. Now, if anyone wants to see Mike Mayock and John Gruden talk and work together, just watch the 2009 draft when Darius Hayward-Bay was drafted. Because I think Gruden was in the analyst booth, and it's funny to see them talk together. Now they are working together again with the Raiders. Yeah, Mark can hire all these names and make all this hype up, but once again, I'm not falling for it. I got to see it to believe it. And I said, this is a lame duck year ahead. These guys are going to be playing for a job and playing for a contract for another team. They're going to be playing for the future, not playing necessarily for the Raiders. They got to be playing for themselves to get a deal, get a contract, survive. Because the NFL stands for not for long, for a reason. So, you value your talent. You know, Vegas is going to have their cash cow, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be rich. They got PSLs, I'm sure. It's corporate. The soul's going to be gone when they go there, and opposing fans are going to take over that joint. Raiders got their national brand, but Vegas is just a hub. I hope they enjoy it. You know, I haven't given my money to the Raiders or the NFL. I mean, they're doing fine without me, I'm sure. They're making plenty of money. The ratings were up. The product as a whole was better. But for me, it's insulting. When you trade a guy like Mac and you have no answer after that because your pass rush was terrible, I mean, that's insulting. That is beyond insulting to know that your pass rush looks like a joke and you're commenting about how hard it is to find a pass rusher when you trade one. You look stupid. Downright stupid. So, from here on out, yeah, I'll probably still cover this last season coming up when they are Oakland Raiders, even if they're not playing physically in Oakland. But, said, both sides get a divorce already. I wish they could just play at UNLV Stadium, which I know is blocked and that can't happen, but they're obviously going to get out. Both sides from the city of Oakland and Mark Davis are getting what they deserve, and we as fans are eating it. We got to wear a 4-12 record. We got to wear losing for 16 years. And I think the saddest thing in all of this is that the 2016 year is now just gone. It's history and in the past. And I knew that while it was a little fluky how they got 12-4, I thought the foundation was there. Guys like Carr, Cooper, and Mack were going to be part of this team for years to come, but nope. Goodbye Musgrave. Todd Downing comes in. It looks like a mess. They knee jerk. And then there's divide in the locker room after that Washington Redskins game. That's the game that really broke the camel and poked the bear in my case. This team doesn't care. They played like they didn't care. So why should I care and invest my time and money? I really have not invested much of my time in the NFL. I've watched some tape, but in terms of sitting down and watching a game live, I didn't do that a lot this year. I chose to work because that's what pays my bills. It's not the Raiders. Unless I chose to bet against them. Maybe that would have paid some bills. But yeah, the Raiders, I'm not impressed. I got to see better, and it sounds very fair weather. Fine, people can hate me for it, but I'm not going to just blindly give my money and my time like a sheep when it's like a movie and you already know the ending. That's the problem. All I do is think bad thoughts and they're going to happen. That's been the life, and you're scarred. 2016 was all a tease. My favorite word saying on the internet. It's a tease, because all those guys are going to, all that team, it's all gone. Derek Carr will be here in 2019, but his career and that team is just what could have been had Carr not gotten hurt. Maybe had things been healthy, maybe had there not been some chemistry issues. It's all what could have been. We thought this team would be relevant, but now this is the Chiefs division. This is the Chargers division. Those are the two teams that right now matter. And unfortunately, the Chiefs have a quarterback that's kicking ass. I mean, the only team that isn't as good as the Broncos, and they are going through ownership struggles, as everybody knows. So I don't think that team's going to be relevant anytime soon until that gets resolved, until the owners and all that is decided. Because if you haven't been paying attention, you've been living under a rock if you don't know the struggles that the Bowlen family and the trust and all that little will, if you call it, they're fighting for the will, is going through. That's a whole total mess for another story. But the Raiders, lame duck. It's just a lame duck time for me, and I will go into hibernation. Once again, it's sad. It's sad how I felt about this team, and I've become all senile and scarred and negative, but I'm not going to be positive until I see something. There's no reason to be optimistic about 2019 when they're going to go through the motions. You just know it. So, with that being said, enjoy your off-season, guys. I will talk about the Super Bowl no matter what happens, and maybe I'll react to some news and things here and there. But until then, this is my last Raiders video for closing the book on the 2018 season. So farewell, everyone. You still got me on Twitter at Coaster Freak, so you can bug me there if you want. But sayonara for now. We'll see you guys next time.